Ethan Carter had always been curious about the stars. Ever since he was a child, he had stared at the night sky, imagining what kinds of life might exist on the distant planets scattered across the universe. Now, at the age of 32, he was not just a dreamer, he was an explorer and a diplomat for the United Earth Alliance. His mission was simple in theory: establish peaceful relationships with alien civilizations. But in practice, it was far more complicated. The latest mission had brought him to a small, uncharted star system. Sensors had detected a civilization that no human had ever encountered before. The Xiphorians, as they had been tentatively named by scientists, were unlike any species humans had previously met. They were highly intelligent, secretive, and their language was not spoken in the way humans understood it. Instead, it was a mix of gestures, colors, and subtle pulses of light emitted from their skin. Ethan stepped off the shuttle onto the landing platform of the Xiphorian city. The architecture was unlike anything he had seen: towers of crystal that shimmered in the sunlight, suspended bridges that glowed faintly, and gardens where plants floated gently above the ground, defying gravity. The air smelled faintly sweet, a scent that made Ethan feel calm and alert at the same time. "Welcome, human," a voice said in perfect English. Ethan turned to see a Xiphorian standing before him. Her body seemed human-like in shape but radiated a soft, glowing light that pulsed gently with her movements. Her eyes were larger than any human's, and they shimmered with a strange, iridescent color. "I am Liara," she said, bowing slightly. "You are expected." Ethan blinked. He had anticipated meeting many alien leaders, but he had not expected to meet one who looked so familiar. There was an elegance in her movements, a grace that seemed almost impossible to describe. He extended his hand instinctively, and Liara placed her delicate hand on his. Closing her eyes for a brief moment, a subtle warmth spread through his chest. It was not pain or discomfort, just a strange, almost comforting sensation. "You can feel that?" he asked cautiously. Liara nodded. "It is how we connect. You will understand in time." Ethan followed her into a building that shimmered with an internal light. Inside, the walls were smooth and reflective, showing images of the stars outside. It was a strange combination of home and otherworldly, a place that made him feel both safe and very small. The meeting he had come for began immediately. Several Xiphorian leaders were present, each exuding an aura of intelligence and calm. Ethan listened carefully as they explained their needs and fears. They were wary of humans, but curious. They had survived countless internal conflicts and viewed alliances cautiously. Then came the surprising part. The eldest of the Xiphorian Council spoke directly to Ethan. "To ensure trust between our species," the elder said, "you will be bonded to one of our people. This bond is sacred and permanent. It is the strongest proof of peace." Ethan froze. "Bonded? You mean married?" he asked, trying to hide his surprise. "Yes," the elder said simply. "Marriage in our tradition is not just a personal union. It is a merging of trust, life, and mind. The ceremony is both symbolic and practical." Ethan's mind raced. He had faced hostile alien worlds, negotiated peace treaties, and solved conflicts that could have ended in disaster. But he had never imagined that diplomacy would involve being married to an alien he barely knew. Liara stepped forward. Her glowing eyes met his. "Do not fear, Ethan Carter," she said. "The bond is natural. It is meant to teach understanding and to strengthen trust. You will learn to see the world as we do." He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "And if I refuse?" The elder's gaze was calm but firm. "Refusal is a choice, yes, but it will make peace difficult, perhaps impossible. The alliance depends on this union." Ethan understood the stakes. He was a human, proud of his species' ability to adapt and overcome. He had faced impossible odds before. Perhaps this was no different. Taking a moment to gather his courage, he nodded. "Very well, I will accept this bond." The council members nodded, and the room seemed to brighten slightly, as if acknowledging his decision. Liara stepped closer and placed her hand on his again. The warmth returned, this time stronger, more vivid. It was not just a feeling, it was as though a silent message had passed between them. Ethan could not understand the words, but he understood the intent, welcome, and trust. In the following days, Ethan learned about Xiphorian customs. He was to live in their city, share meals, and participate in rituals leading up to the formal ceremony. Each day, he discovered something new about Liara and her people. They were intelligent, artistic, and deeply connected to the universe around them. Their communication was more than words, it was understanding, empathy, and intuition. Ethan's admiration grew, but so did his nervousness. He knew the coming ceremony would mark the beginning of something far more intense than a political alliance. The bond was not just legal. It was emotional and spiritual. Humans were not prepared for such a connection, yet he felt a strange excitement at the thought. Liara, meanwhile, seemed patient and curious. She did not demand anything from him, yet she shared moments of insight into her world. Sometimes she allowed him to touch her hand, and for a brief moment, he could see flashes of her memories, childhood moments, her people's history, and their philosophies. It was dizzying and overwhelming, but also fascinating. One evening, as the two of them walked through a floating garden under a sky filled with unfamiliar stars, Ethan spoke quietly. "Liara, I don't know what I'm getting myself into," she smiled, the light in her eyes pulsing gently. "Nor do I, in the way you understand. But the bond chooses not just the willing, it chooses those ready to learn. You are ready, Ethan. Your heart is open. That is what matters." Ethan looked at her, a strange combination of awe and apprehension in his chest. He had faced dangers, solved crises, and made decisions that affected entire worlds. Yet the idea of being truly close to someone so alien, sharing life, mind, and emotion felt like stepping into a completely unknown galaxy. The next day, preparations for the ceremony began. Ethan was introduced to Xiphorian attire, robes that shimmered with shifting colors, and rituals that involved music, light, and shared energy fields. Each step was designed to prepare both of them for the bond. It was beautiful, mesmerizing, and intimidating all at once. As the ceremony approached, Ethan found himself thinking not just of duty, but of curiosity. What would it be like to connect with another being in ways humans could not imagine? Could he understand Liara fully? Could he bridge the gap between human and Xiphorian minds? When the night of the ceremony arrived, Ethan felt a mix of excitement and fear. He wore the ceremonial robes, their colors shifting gently as he moved. Liara approached him, radiant and calm, her presence filling the room with a quiet energy. "This is the moment," she said softly. "Whatever comes next, we will face it together." Ethan nodded, feeling a strange warmth in his chest, stronger than before. It was not just comfort, it was connection, trust, and anticipation. He could not see the future, but he could feel the possibility of something extraordinary. And as they joined hands, the first threads of the bond began to form. It was subtle at first, a tingling, a resonance deep inside him. But he knew, without doubt, that nothing would ever be the same. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, and Ethan realized that he was no longer just a human exploring the galaxy. He was a human stepping into a shared destiny with an alien bride. That night marked the beginning of a journey he could never have imagined, a journey that would challenge his understanding of life, love, and the universe itself. Ethan Carter had always known that space travel could be disorienting, but the journey to Liara's homeworld was unlike anything he had experienced. The Xiphorian vessel was silent yet alive, a living structure that seemed to breathe with its own rhythm. The walls shimmered with faint light, and the floor felt soft under his feet, almost like walking on moss. Every step he took seemed to echo in harmony with the ship's pulse. Liara guided him through the corridors with grace. She moved as though she was a part of the ship itself, every motion fluid, every step precise. Ethan, by contrast, felt clumsy, more aware of his human weight and awkwardness than ever before. Yet Liara did not make him feel out of place. Instead, she offered quiet encouragement with her presence. "Do you feel it?" she asked softly, her glowing eyes meeting his. "Feel what?" Ethan replied, a little unsure. "The rhythm of the ship. It responds to us, to our movements. It is alive, in its own way," Liara said. Soon, you will understand that all life is connected, in some form, to this world. Ethan nodded, trying to imagine a planet where even the vessels were alive, where travel was not just mechanical but organic. His curiosity, which had driven him to explore the stars, surged with excitement. The journey took several days, but Ethan did not mind. He spent his time observing Liara and learning more about Xiphorian life. He noticed that the glow of her skin changed depending on her mood and focus. When she was calm, it was a soft blue. When she was curious or excited, it flickered with shades of gold and violet. It was a form of communication he did not fully understand. Yet he could sense her emotions even without words. On the third day, Liara guided him to the observation deck. The walls were transparent, and the stars stretched infinitely in every direction. Ethan gasped as he saw their destination, Liara's planet, Zifra, coming into view. It was breathtaking. The surface was covered with vast forests of glowing trees, rivers that floated above the ground in twisting ribbons, and mountains that shimmered like crystals under the sun. The sky was a deep lavender, and 3 moons hovered gently above the horizon. The beauty was unlike anything he had ever seen. You will find that Zifra has been shaped by life, not just by nature, Liara said, sensing his awe. Our people live in harmony with the planet. We do not conquer it. We coexist with it. Ethan's mind raced with questions. So, your buildings, your cities, they grow. Liara nodded. In a sense, we shape them, but the planet provides the energy. Everything is connected. You will see more when we arrive. When they landed, Ethan was struck by the harmony of the city. Towers of crystal rose naturally from the ground. Trees with luminous leaves formed courtyards, and streams of water glided above the streets, guided by invisible currents. The Xiphorians moved gracefully, their glowing forms blending seamlessly with the environment. You will stay in the council tower, Liara explained. It is prepared for you. The council tower was a structure that defied Ethan's understanding of architecture. Its walls shimmered like liquid silver, reflecting both light and shadow. The interior was open and expansive, with floating platforms that moved gently through the air. Ethan stepped onto one and felt it respond to his weight, rising slowly as he moved. This is incredible, Ethan said, his voice echoing softly. Liara smiled. It is our home, and soon it will be yours too. Over the next few days, Ethan was introduced to Xiphorian customs and daily life. Meals were not just eaten, they were shared experiences. Food emitted soft lights and subtle fragrances that reflected its nutritional and emotional energy. Humans could taste the flavors, of course, but Xiphorians also absorbed the essence of the meal in ways that affected their emotions and thoughts. Ethan tried his best to participate. At first, he felt awkward, struggling to sync his human senses with the Xiphorian experience. But Liara was patient, guiding him gently, her hand sometimes resting on his to steady him. When he finally felt the first true harmony with a Xiphorian meal, he was exhilarated. It was not just nourishment, it was connection. One evening, Liara took him to a floating garden. The plants hovered midair, shifting slowly in patterns like a living kaleidoscope. Ethan reached out and touched a glowing leaf. A wave of warmth passed through him, as though the plant itself acknowledged his presence. Everything here is alive, Liara said softly. Even plants, even stones, are part of the world's consciousness. Xiphorians learn to sense it. You will too. Ethan marveled at the thought. Humans had long believed they were the pinnacle of intelligence. Yet here was a species that had achieved harmony with their world and each other in ways humans could hardly imagine. And yet, he did not feel inferior. He felt challenged and inspired. That night, as they rested in the council tower, Ethan found himself thinking about the upcoming bonding ceremony. He had spent days with Liara, learning about her world, her people, and her mind. Yet he still did not fully understand the depth of the bond he was about to share. Are you ready? Liara asked quietly, her glowing form resting near him. I think so, Ethan replied, though he was not entirely sure. But it's strange. I have never felt anything like this before. You will, Liara said, placing her hand over his. The bond is not just ceremony. It is the sharing of life, emotion, and thought. You will understand your place, and I will understand yours. Together, we will create something new. Ethan felt a shiver of anticipation. He had faced many unknowns in his life, but this was different. This was intimate, profound, and permanent. And yet, he trusted Liara. There was a quiet assurance in her presence that calmed his anxiety. The following days were filled with preparation. Ethan learned the movements of the bonding ritual, the sequences of thought and gesture required to participate fully. Liara guided him patiently, her light shifting with each lesson, showing both encouragement and clarity. Ethan began to understand that this was not just a human marriage, nor was it a Xiphorian one. It was a new kind of union, unique to the connection between their species. During one training session, Ethan stumbled, overwhelmed by the synchronization required. He felt frustration rising, a very human reaction. Liara touched his shoulder, and suddenly he felt a wave of calm, a gentle understanding that seemed to flow from her mind to his. The sensation was astonishing. For the first time, he realized that the bond would not just affect emotions, it would allow them to share understanding in ways humans could not normally achieve. You are learning faster than I expected, Liara said with a gentle pulse of light across her skin. You have a human strength, a desire to understand and adapt. That is rare among visitors. Ethan smiled, feeling both pride and humility. I just want to do it right. I want to understand you and your people, and you will, Liara said. The bond is a journey, not a destination. We will learn together. As the day of the ceremony approached, Ethan spent time exploring the city with Liara. He saw Xiphorians at work and play, their glowing forms shifting with emotion, creating music, art, and technology in ways humans had never imagined. He marveled at their ingenuity and adaptability, and he began to understand that the astonishing truth of his future life with Liara would not be discovered in a single moment. It would reveal itself slowly, through shared experience, empathy, and understanding. On the night before the ceremony, Liara took Ethan to the edge of a floating plateau, overlooking a valley of glowing trees and rivers suspended in midair. The view was breathtaking. Ethan felt a sense of peace he had never known. You will sleep tonight, Ethan, Liara said softly. Tomorrow, everything changes. But do not fear. We are ready, Ethan nodded, gazing at the alien horizon. His heart was racing, but not with fear, excitement. He was about to step into a life unlike any he had imagined, with a partner unlike any human could ever dream of. He was ready to embrace the unknown, because he knew that humanity's greatest strength was the ability to adapt, to learn, and to connect. And with that thought, he felt a quiet confidence settle over him. The journey to Zifra had taught him much, but the greatest lesson was yet to come. Tomorrow, the bond would begin. The day of the bonding ceremony had finally arrived. The sun of Zifra rose slowly, casting a soft lavender glow across the floating city. Ethan Carter stood at the edge of the council tower, gazing at the luminous trees, the river suspended in midair, and the distant mountains that shimmered like crystals. His heart beat fast, not with fear, but with anticipation. Today was unlike any challenge he had ever faced. Today, he would step fully into the unknown. Liara approached him silently. Her glowing skin pulsed gently in hues of blue and gold, reflecting both calm and focus. She extended her hand. Ethan took it without hesitation, feeling the familiar warmth spread through his chest. He realized that no human ritual he had ever experienced had prepared him for this moment. The bond he was about to enter was not merely physical, it was mental, emotional, and spiritual. The council members gathered around them, their bodies glowing softly in shades that reflected their calm authority. The ceremony began with a series of gestures and light signals, a language Ethan had spent days learning but still struggled to master. Liara guided his movements patiently, her mind connecting with his in subtle ways that allowed him to sense the rhythm and flow of the ritual. At first, Ethan felt clumsy. His human instincts resisted the precision of the gestures, and his mind struggled to follow the silent communication of emotions and thoughts. But Liara did not push him. Instead, she allowed him to falter and recover, her presence steadying him like a calm river guiding a small boat. Then, As they completed the first stage of the ceremony, something astonishing happened. Ethan felt a sudden surge of connection. It began as a subtle warmth in his chest, then expanded outward. As if invisible threads were reaching from his mind to Liara's. He could not see them, could not touch them, yet he felt her thoughts, her emotions. And even fragments of her memories died. It was overwhelming. Flashes of Liara's life appeared in his mind, her childhood among the glowing forests of Zifra, the playful games she had with her friends, the quiet lessons her elders had taught her. He felt her joy, her curiosity, her cautious optimism, and her profound respect for life. Ethan, are you all right? Liara asked softly. Yes, he stammered, still adjusting to the flood of sensations. It's been incredible. I can feel you in ways I never imagined. Liara smiled gently. This is the beginning. The bond allows us to share more than words. You will learn to understand me, and I will understand you. Together, we will see the universe differently. As the ceremony progressed, Ethan discovered that the bond was more than emotional. It enhanced his perception, sharpening his senses in ways he had never experienced. He could hear the faint hum of energy in the city, sense the subtle currents of life in the floating rivers, and even feel the rhythm of Zifra itself. It was as though the planet and its inhabitants had opened a door for him, allowing him to experience their world from within. Liara, too, seemed affected by the bond. Her movements were even more fluid, her glow brighter and more vibrant. Ethan could sense her pride and joy at his progress, and it gave him confidence. He realized that humans had a unique strength adaptability. While Xiphorians were naturally attuned to their environment and each other, humans had the ability to learn quickly, to find connection even when it was unfamiliar. When the final stage of the ceremony began, Liara and Ethan were asked to share their thoughts and intentions silently. Ethan focused, opening his mind as she had shown him. He reached for her consciousness, not to intrude, but to offer understanding. He felt a rush of clarity, as though the barrier between human and Xiphorian was dissolving. In that moment, he knew the astonishing truth that the Council had spoken of the bond was not simply symbolic. It was transformative. He could sense not only Liara's mind, but also his own in a new way. Emotions were sharper, thoughts clearer, and his awareness expanded beyond his physical body. It was as though his humanity had grown not in size, but in depth. He understood that this bond was teaching him the greatest human strength, empathy, the ability to understand another being, even one utterly different from himself. Was not a weakness, it was power. Liara's voice echoed in his mind. You are ready, Ethan. Together, we will face the stars. Ethan smiled, feeling a profound connection he could not have imagined before. I understand now, he whispered, his voice trembling slightly. It's not just about marriage. It's about life, about connection, about seeing the universe through another's eyes. Liara's glow pulsed warmly. Yes, and now, you will see more than just my eyes. You will see the potential in all life and in humanity itself. The ceremony ended with a final gesture emerging of their energy fields, a visible intertwining of light that wrapped around them. The council members bowed in acknowledgement. Ethan felt a calm confidence settle over him. He was no longer just a human diplomat. He was part of something greater, a bridge between species, a symbol of what humans could achieve when they embraced understanding and courage. That night, Ethan and Liara retired to the chamber prepared for them. The room was simple but elegant, lit by softly glowing walls that adjusted to their emotional state. Ethan sat on the edge of a floating bed, his mind still reeling from the ceremony. He felt connected to Liara in ways words could not describe, and yet he sensed that the journey had only just begun. Liara sat beside him, her hand resting lightly on his. Do you feel it? She asked. Yes, Ethan said softly. It's beyond anything I imagined. I can feel your thoughts, your memories, your life, and yet it doesn't feel invasive. It feels right. That is the bond, Liara explained. It is not about taking, but sharing. It allows two beings to grow together, to learn together. It is both a gift and a responsibility. Ethan nodded. I feel stronger, somehow, not physically, but in ways I never understood. I think I understand why humans are valued. We can adapt, learn, and connect even across impossible differences. That might be our greatest strength. Liara's glow brightened. Yes, that is why I chose you, Ethan. Not for your title, nor your skills alone, but for your mind and heart. You are human, and that is why this bond works. They sat together in silence for a while, the connection between them deepening with each passing moment. Ethan marveled at the feeling of being understood completely, without words, without explanation. He realized that this was more than a first night, it was a beginning, a moment that would shape not only his life, but the future of human and Xiphorian relations. Hours passed, and Ethan finally allowed himself to rest. As he drifted into sleep, he felt Liara's presence like a soft light enveloping him. He could sense her dreams, gentle images of the forests, rivers, and skies of Zifra, intertwined with his own thoughts and memories. It was a strange but comforting sensation, a union of consciousness that promised growth. Understanding, an adventure. In the middle of the night, Ethan awoke briefly. He could see Liara's form beside him, her glow faint but steady. A thought passed between them without words. We are partners. Together, we are stronger. Ethan smiled, feeling a surge of pride, not arrogance, but deep human pride. Humanity had always been underestimated by other species. They had faced impossible odds, survived disasters, and adapted to challenges that should have been insurmountable. And here, in this alien world, he realized that humans were capable of forging connections that no other species could. Humans could adapt, understand, and grow. Humans could rise. As he closed his eyes again, Ethan made a silent promise. He would honor this bond. He would learn from Liara, and he would teach her about humanity. Together, they would explore the stars, face challenges, and prove that humans were not only capable of surviving among the stars, they were capable of shaping the future of the galaxy. The first night had revealed the astonishing truth. The bond was more than ritual, more than union. It was a bridge, a transformation, and a testament to the human spirit. Ethan Carter understood now that this was only the beginning, and he was ready. Tomorrow, the real journey would begin. The days following the bonding ceremony passed in a blur of discovery for Ethan Carter. He awoke each morning with a new sense of awareness, as if the very fabric of his perception had been altered. The bond he shared with Liara was no longer subtle, it had become a part of him. He could sense her thoughts, her emotions, and even the faint pulses of her life energy as if they were his own. At first, he had thought it was just the bond's emotional connection, but gradually, he realized it went far deeper. He could sense patterns in the environment, detect subtle changes in the city, and even anticipate minor events before they occurred. For instance, when a small flock of floating birds moved through the air, he instinctively knew their trajectory, adjusting his own steps before they passed by. It was astonishing. Liara noticed his growing awareness. "You are learning faster than I expected," she said one morning as they walked along a river of floating light. The bond awakens latent abilities in both species. It is designed to enhance connection, understanding, and perception. Ethan frowned. Latent abilities? Yes, Liara said. Humans have unique adaptability. When bonded with a Xiphorian, you can extend your senses, understand patterns, and even communicate in ways beyond speech. But it is not without risk. What kind of risk? Ethan asked, his curiosity piqued. Liara's glow dimmed slightly. Other species in the galaxy are watching. Not all are pleased with our alliance. Some see humans as unpredictable, and some fear that the bond could give us power they cannot control. You must be prepared for challenges beyond this planet. Ethan nodded. Humans had faced threats before, and he had survived many. But the idea that their personal bond could affect galactic politics was a heavy realization. Still, he felt ready. Humanity's strength was its ability to adapt, and he trusted that together, he and Liara could face any challenge. That afternoon, a group of Xiphorian scholars invited Ethan to observe a unique experiment. They demonstrated how the bond could enhance communication and understanding between species. By linking human and Xiphorian minds, they could share ideas instantly, solve complex problems, and even create innovative solutions that neither species could achieve alone. Ethan was fascinated. Humans had always prided themselves on creativity, but the bond revealed a new dimension. Ideas flowed more freely, patterns became visible, and solutions emerged in moments that might have taken humans years to discover. He realized that this was not just a personal connection. It was a demonstration of humanity's potential on a galactic scale. However, the exhilaration was interrupted by a warning. A Xiphorian messenger arrived from the Council, urgency glowing in his form. "There are intruders in the northern sectors," he said. "They come from a faction that opposes human Xiphorian alliances. They seek to disrupt the bond and destabilize our world." Ethan's pulse quickened. He had faced danger before, but this was different. These intruders were not merely hostile, they were intelligent, prepared, and intent on exploiting the bond's vulnerabilities. He looked at Liara. "What should we do?" he asked. Liara's glow shifted to a determined gold. "We will face them together. Our bond is our strength. Trust in it, trust in each other, and we will overcome." They moved swiftly through the floating city, Liara guiding Ethan with precision. As they approached the northern sector, Ethan saw the intruders, a small group of alien mercenaries, armed and scanning for any signs of weakness. Their appearance was calculated, designed to intimidate. "Stay close," Liara whispered. Her hand brushed his, and instantly he felt a surge of awareness, an extension of his senses into hers. He could anticipate the movements of the intruders, perceive their intentions, and feel the slightest shift in their emotions. The battle that followed was not like anything Ethan had experienced before. He did not rely solely on weapons or physical strength. Instead, he used the bond. He moved in sync with Liara, anticipating her actions and coordinating seamlessly. Each step, each gesture, was guided by a shared understanding that transcended words. In moments of tension, he marveled at humanity's adaptability. While the intruders had technology and strategy, humans had ingenuity. Ethan found solutions on the fly, leveraging the environment, using patterns and timing in ways the invaders did not anticipate. The bond amplified these human qualities, making him faster, more aware, and more precise. Liara's guidance was equally vital. She used subtle energy pulses to disorient the intruders, creating openings that Ethan could exploit. Together, they neutralized the threat without causing lasting harm. Relying on skill and coordination rather than brute force, when the danger was over, Ethan breathed heavily, his mind still buzzing from the experience. He realized something profound. The bond was not only about understanding, it was about human potential. Humans could adapt, improvise, and overcome, even in situations that seemed impossible. The Xiphorians had recognized it, and now Ethan understood why. Liara's glow softened, and she touched his shoulder. "You see now," she said, "why the bond works. You have humanity's greatest strength, the ability to learn, to grow, and to overcome. That is why we sought this connection." Ethan smiled, a mix of pride and humility filling him. "I never thought humans could do so much. Beyond what we imagined. It's inspiring." Liara nodded. "It is not just inspiring. It is essential. The galaxy is vast, and challenges will grow. Humanity and Xiphoria together can create stability, understanding, and progress in the following days." Ethan and Liara worked closely with the Council to strengthen defenses and enhance communication through the bond. They trained together, learning to synchronize not only their thoughts, but also their actions in daily life. Ethan discovered that even simple tasks, when performed in tandem through the bond, became more efficient and precise. One evening, as they rested after a long day, Ethan reflected on everything he had learned. The bond had revealed not only Liara's thoughts and memories, but also a broader truth about life and humanity. Humans were resilient, curious, and capable of growth. Even when faced with beings and situations far beyond their understanding, they could adapt, learn, and thrive. Liara noticed his introspection. "What are you thinking?" she asked softly. "I'm thinking about humans," Ethan said. "We've faced countless challenges, yet we survive. We make mistakes, but we learn. We may be limited physically, but our minds, our hearts, they are capable of extraordinary things. And now, with this bond, I can see how we might influence not just our own world, but others as well. Liara's glow brightened with approval. Yes, that is why the Council chose this union. Your humanity is not a weakness, it is a strength. Together, we can achieve what neither species could alone. The realization filled Ethan with a sense of purpose. He was no longer just a visitor in an alien world. He was a participant in something greater, a symbol of human potential. The bond had shown him that humanity's greatest power lay not in technology or force, but in adaptability, understanding, and courage. But even as he embraced this truth, Ethan knew challenges would continue. Other factions in the galaxy would test them, curious and wary of the humans' I-4 bond. Yet he felt ready, with Liara at his side and with the strength of humanity guiding him. He believed they could face any threat. The night ended with a quiet moment of reflection. Ethan and Liara sat together on a floating platform, overlooking the glowing forests and rivers of Zifra. The stars above shone brightly, and Ethan felt a profound connection not just to Liara, but to the planet and its life. This is only the beginning, Liara said softly. Yes, Ethan replied. And we are ready. Humanity is ready. Together, we can face whatever comes. As they watched the alien sky, Ethan realized that the bond had already transformed him. He understood that humans could rise to challenges beyond imagination, and that the connection between species was not just possible, but essential for the future. The astonishing truth he had glimpsed on the first night was only part of a greater revelation. The universe was vast, but humanity had the courage, intelligence, and adaptability to thrive among the stars. And with Liara by his side, he knew that no challenge, no matter how great, would be insurmountable. The days after the attack on the northern sector had brought calm to Zifra, but Ethan Carter knew that the galaxy's challenges were far from over. He and Liara had spent every moment since the incident strengthening their bond, exploring its potential, and learning to anticipate not only each other's thoughts, but the patterns of the world around them. Each day revealed new capabilities, new understandings, and new proof of humanity's adaptability. The bond had transformed Ethan in ways he had never imagined. He could sense the pulse of Zifra itself, the subtle shifts in air currents, the energy of the floating rivers, the rhythm of the glowing forests. Humans had always relied on tools, technology, and intellect, but through the bond, he realized that adaptation and understanding could surpass even the most advanced machines. Humanity's greatest strength was not invention, it was the ability to connect, to learn, and to rise to any challenge. Yet, even as Ethan marveled at his own growth, the Council's warnings still echoed in his mind. Other factions in the galaxy had been watching the humans' I-4 bond, and not all of them were pleased. Some feared the potential of a species capable of learning and connecting so deeply. Some envied the alliance that had grown stronger in mere weeks. One morning, as Ethan and Liara walked through the floating gardens of Zifra, a council messenger arrived with urgent news. "There's a fleet approaching," he said, his glowing form tense. "They are from a coalition that opposes our union. They intend to destroy the bond and claim our world." Ethan's pulse quickened. But he did not feel fear. Fear was human, yes, but so was courage. He looked at Liara, whose glow shifted to a determined gold. Together, they would face whatever came. "Then we must be ready," Ethan said firmly. "Our bond is more than ceremony. It is proof of what humanity can achieve. We will not fail." Liara nodded. "The Council has prepared defenses, but we must also use our bond. Together, we are stronger than any threat." As the fleet approached, Ethan and Liara took their place at the city's command center. The structure hovered above the city, giving them a perfect vantage point. Ethan could feel the rhythm of the approaching ships, each movement, each intention, as if he could sense their thoughts through the subtle energy they emitted. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. "It's like we can anticipate their every move." "Yes," Liara replied, "and that is just the beginning. With trust, understanding, and coordination, we can overcome even overwhelming odds." The attack began subtly at first, small ships darting between the floating towers, attempting to probe defenses. Ethan and Liara moved as one, coordinating through the bond. He felt her thoughts and intentions as clearly as his own, and together they directed the city's defenses with precision. Shields rose in anticipation of attacks, energy pulses were redirected to neutralize threats, and the floating platforms shifted to create barriers. Humans might not have been as naturally powerful as Xiphorians, but Ethan realized that their ingenuity and adaptability made them a perfect complement. He could analyze situations quickly, propose unexpected solutions, and act decisively. Liara's intuition and natural connection to Zifra amplified these strengths together. They were unstoppable. The enemy fleet escalated, sending larger vessels to break the city's defenses. Yet each attack was met with a coordinated response. Ethan and Liara's bond allowed them to anticipate movements, synchronize countermeasures, and exploit weaknesses in ways the attackers did not expect. Human adaptability and Xiphorian harmony worked together seamlessly, turning potential disaster into demonstration of unity. During the battle, Ethan had a revelation. The bond was not just about communication or strategy. It allowed humans to become something more perceptive, insightful, and extraordinarily resilient. Humans were not limited by biology alone. Their minds could learn and adapt, their hearts could trust and empathize, and their courage could inspire strength beyond expectation. Liara noticed his realization. "You understand now," she said, her glow radiating approval. "Humans can rise to challenges that seem impossible. That is why this bond works. That is why we chose you." Ethan nodded. "I understand, and it's not just about survival. It's about growth. Together, humans and Xiphorians can achieve what neither species could alone." By the time the enemy fleet began to retreat, Ethan and Liara had not only defended the city, but demonstrated the power of their union. The Council and citizens of Zifra watched in awe as the human and Xiphorian pair coordinated effortlessly, combining strength, intelligence, and intuition. Humans had proved that they could be more than explorers, they could be leaders, innovators, and symbols of unity. When the dust settled, the council convened to discuss the outcome. This victory was more than military, the elders said. It was proof that the human spirit can rise to meet any challenge. Your bond has shown us the potential of partnership between species. Ethan felt a surge of pride. Not arrogant, but deeply human. Humanity had always faced adversity, but now they had proven something more. They could connect, adapt, and overcome in ways that changed the course of worlds. Liara reached for his hand, and their bond pulsed warmly in response. Ethan felt the shared joy, the pride, and the unspoken promise of a future. "We did it," he said softly. "Yes," Liara replied, "and this is only the beginning. There are more worlds, more challenges, and more opportunities to show what humanity can achieve. Together, we will continue to rise." In the days that followed, the city of Zifra celebrated not only their survival, but the promise of a new era. Humans and Xiphorians began working together on innovations, cultural exchanges, and joint exploration projects. The bond between Ethan and Liara became a symbol, a testament to human resilience, intelligence, and adaptability. Ethan realized that the astonishing truth of his first night with Liara had only been the start. Humans had not only connected with an alien species, they had unlocked potential within themselves. Through understanding, empathy, and courage, humanity could thrive among the stars. One evening, Ethan and Liara walked together along a river of floating light. The sky was dotted with stars, the 3 moons of Zifra glowing softly. Ethan looked at Liara and felt a profound sense of gratitude. "Thank you," he said, "not just for this bond, but for showing me what humans can be capable of." Liara smiled, her glow gentle and warm. "You already knew, Ethan. You just needed the opportunity to realize it. Humanity's strength lies in the heart, the mind, and the willingness to rise. You have shown that you are worthy of this bond, and that humans are worthy of the stars." Ethan nodded. He understood now that the bond was more than a union between two beings, it was a bridge between. Worlds, a symbol of hope, and a demonstration of what humans could achieve when they embraced understanding and courage. As they walked hand in hand, Ethan reflected on the journey. From the moment he had agreed to the bond, to the first night, to the challenges they had faced together, he had grown. He had learned to see the universe through new eyes, to appreciate life in ways he had never imagined, and to trust in the strength of humanity. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter. As if acknowledging the potential of this new alliance, Ethan felt a surge of determination. Humanity had the ability to rise, to connect, and to shape the future, and with Liara by his side, he knew that no challenge was too great. The bond had revealed the astonishing truth: humans were capable of extraordinary understanding, courage, and growth, but it had also revealed something more profound. Together, humans and Xiphorians could create a future of unity, peace, and shared discovery. As Ethan and Liara looked out over Zifra, a quiet sense of purpose settled over them. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers alike, but they were ready. Together, they would explore, learn, and inspire. They would prove that humans could rise to meet the stars not just as observers, but as leaders, partners, and beacons of hope. Ethan squeezed Liara's hand. "A new era begins," he said softly. "Yes," Liara replied, "and we will face it together." The future stretched before them, limitless and full of possibilities, and for the first time, Ethan understood completely. Humanity was not just part of the universe, it had the power to shape it. And with that knowledge, he felt a quiet, unshakable confidence, no matter what the galaxy held. Humans would rise. The journey was far from over, but together, Ethan and Liara were ready to meet whatever came next.